Welcome back to Society Case Files. My name is Robert, and today I want to talk about Inquisitor Martyr again. It's been a while. If you like this kind of content and you want to see more, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Otherwise, let's dive right in. Inquisitor Martyr has been out since 2018, and as of recording this video, it's in the summer sale, and it is just a total steal. Some of the DLC is like 59 cents. It's utter madness. I did a quick look, and I might be wrong about these numbers being specific, but it looks like there's 11 story DLC, 2 class DLCs, then there's Prophecy, which added the Tech Priest, a grand total of 22 separate things that you can add on to the game. Some of them are stupid, like emotes and that kind of thing, but all around, it's pretty substantial. And they got 100 hours to complete based on how long to beat, and that's probably not entirely inaccurate. There's a ton of stuff to do, lots of stories, and then there's all the random quests you can do in your pursuit to try and get the highest level. Now, there isn't as much cause to go off and do a bunch of theory crafting and everything else since they're not really supporting the game anymore. It is totally in maintenance mode. You can play any of the seasons you want. You just make a new character, select that season, and you just get to do it, which is really awesome, honestly, if you want to see what that stuff was like. I get the feeling when I play it that there's just not as much reason to do so. And that's totally on me. That's not on them. It's just that when the game's in maintenance mode, I don't feel the same urge to do the high-end theory crafting. I just kind of want to see the story and enjoy playing again, kind of hanging out with an old friend in this case. It's not like a game that is waiting for the next thing to come out, so there's a good reason to try and maximize your passives and all this other good stuff. But that said, I think this game had a pretty solid run when it comes to what they put out for it. I am a little sad because there was things they could have added still that hadn't been in there. So we already had Chaos Demons, Chaos Space Marines, Cultists. There was the Eldar, the Dark Eldar, Rebel Guard, and even Tyrannid. So there was a pretty good spread of enemies to fight, but they still had the Necrons, Orcs, and Tau they could have added, and then even more fringe stuff was available. I was kind of hoping to find out they were working on a sequel to the game. After all, they did 3 Van Helsing games, but that was their original IP. When I checked into it, it appears that Neocron is currently working on a brand new IP, something that they consider to be very ambitious and something they've worked up towards. They're pretty excited about it. It sounds like it'll be pretty cool. Whatever it is, it's something that is beyond the scope of anything they've worked on before. These are their words, not mine. And they haven't really been able to talk about it yet. I guess it must be too soon. Maybe they're afraid someone will try and steal the idea that has more resources that could try and get it to market faster. Who knows what their motive is there, but whatever it is, they are not working on another Warhammer Inquisitor Martyr game, and that's kind of sad. I think that a sequel would have been really good. They learned so much from this game that if they would have made another one, maybe just improved the graphics or tweaked things to address the kinds of feedback they'd received from people over the years, I think they could have had an even better game. I know that the Van Helsing games did progressively get better. One of their biggest problems with them as a developer is they generally do release pretty buggy products. That's true of the other games I've played of theirs too. They do generally work them out and get them fixed, but for whatever reason, they just can't push it over the finish line without having a lot of issues. When I first started playing Inquisitor Martyr, I couldn't even play PvP, not with a friend, not randomly, nothing. It just would crash immediately. And that was just my experience. Other people just experienced terrible lag and various other things. So what's even more strange is that they released a brand new class right before going into maintenance mode. I guess it was kind of a thank you for playing the game, but I mean, it failed in some regards because all of that feeling of, oh, I can't wait for next season. I'm going to try this character so that I can theory craft a little bit so that when that season comes, I'm ready to go. That just wasn't there anymore. So now you've just got a character to try for the fun of it. And now, obviously, games are supposed to be fun. So if that's fine, I guess. But in this day and age, where we've got battle passes and we've got, again, seasons like Diablo. I think Diablo 3 is on like its 500th season. I'm exaggerating. I think it's in the 30s, but you know, it's just, it kind of diminishes the desire to go back and push to those higher levels, as I said earlier in this video. I know that a lot of people are excited about the fact that you can now play offline mode. That is awesome. I think it's pretty cool. It does make it sort of like the old school action RPG games like Diablo 1 and even Diablo 2. And there was a nice time when we didn't have to always be online to play a game. I got to admit, I sort of miss those times occasionally. But I've also got this sense that I like the game to have some perpetuity where you can continue to advance and get more content, and live service games work for me for the most part. I know that they are such a freaking cash grab in most cases, and oftentimes they're a little bit more mediocre, but I've always wanted a game that I love to just keep going for as long as it could. And sometimes these days that means that a game goes on longer than it should, and I guess in a way that sucks too. I don't know. I suppose that ultimately with Inquisitor Martyr, I wanted more. I either wanted a sequel or I wanted more content for this. I wanted them to have a small dedicated team continuing to put out seasons or something, but we don't get that. And so I can't call it dead because, again, it's in maintenance mode. You can play the game offline. You've got all the classes, tons of DLC. If you wanted to, you could go back through, have a very different experience with a different class than maybe you've played it through the first time. But for me, I just wished, and I was sad to find that information and wanted to make a video and talk about it. So I'm curious, how do you feel about Inquisitor Martyr going on maintenance mode? Were you looking forward to a sequel? Do you think someone else might make one, or is this it? Anyway, let me know in the comments. We'll talk. This is Robert with Society Case Files signing off.